Okay, so this is a new topic which is the inverse Laplace transform. So by the title of the topic, ibabalik lang natin yung transform natin na function into its original equation or original function. Okay. So ibabalik lang natin. Just like yung derivative and integral, they are vice versa naman. Okay? So, sa definition natin, if the Laplace of the function of t is equal to f of s, then the inverse Laplace transform of f of s is f of t. Just like what I've said kanina, magkabaliktad lang sila. That is, the inverse Laplace of f of s is equal to f of t. So, to understand more, let us try examples. So let's try example number 1. That is the inverse Laplace of 6 over s over 5. Okay? So let's write. Sulat natin dito. Number 1, um, inverse Laplace of 6 over s raised to 5. Okay? So kailangan natin yung table natin ngayon. So we need our table of Laplace transforms. Okay? So, dito sa part na to, dito sa example number 1, since constant yung 6 natin, pwede nating i-factor out or i-isolate. So, oh my gosh. Okay, so we isolate yung constant natin. So, this will become 6 tapos the inverse Laplace of 1 over s raised to 5. So this seems familiar, right? This looks familiar. So if we look at our table of Laplace transforms and we look at number 3, t raised to n, the Laplace transform of t raised to n is equal to n factorial over s raised to n plus 1. So since 5 yung exponent natin dito, we get the value of n. So this is n plus 1. Or wait, recall natin yung Laplace of t raised to n is equal to n factorial over s raised to n plus 1. Okay, so we are getting the value of n. So this will be equal to 5 minus 1 is equal to n. So our n is equal to 4. So we can rewrite this, or we can manipulate this one by following this formula. So this will be equal to 6 times the Laplace, inverse Laplace of 4 factorial, yan, 4 factorial over s raised to 4 plus 1. Okay. So, dito sa original na function natin, na equation natin, 1 lang yung nandito. So, we need to eliminate yung 4 factorial dito. How? By dividing 4 factorial dito sa equation natin. So, this will be equal to 6 tapos Laplace, inverse Laplace of 4 factorial over s raised to 4 plus 1 times 4 factorial. Para ma-cancel natin. Okay. So, since ito yung gina-justify natin or kinukuha natin yung inverse Laplace transform, we need to divide 4 factorial here para mag-cancel yan and ma-replace yan ng 1. If that will be equal to 1 over s raised to 4 plus 1, then na-justify natin tong original na equation natin. So since constant to, we can isolate this one. So this will become 6 over 4 factorial the inverse Laplace of 4 factorial over s raised to 4 plus 1. So from here, pwede na nating isulat to into its original equation, into its inverse Laplace transform. So 6 over 4 factorial is 24. That is 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 times, this is 4 factorial over s raised to 4 plus 1. That is t raised to n, and n is equal to 4. So this will be equal to t raised to 4. So our Laplace transform, inverse Laplace of 6 over s raised to 5, sulat na lang natin, the inverse Laplace of 6 over s raised to 5 is equal to 1 over 4 t raised to 4. So this is the answer for example number 1. So let's try example number 2, the inverse Laplace of 7s over s squared plus 9. So let's write it. Inverse Laplace of 7s over s squared plus 9. Okay, so since this is a constant, pwede natin ulit siyang i-isolate like this and then get the inverse Laplace transform of s over s squared plus 9. Looking at the table of Laplace transform, s over s squared plus 9 looks like the Laplace transform of cosine 80 at a equal to 3 since 9 to, 'di ba? So at a equal to 3, this will be equal to 7, the inverse Laplace of s over s squared plus 3 squared. So our the inverse Laplace of 7s over s squared plus 9 would be 7, and then cosine a is equal to 3, so cosine 3t. So this is the answer for example number 2. Okay, so madali lang siya. Now let's try example number 3, inverse Laplace of 3s plus 4 over s squared plus 5. Okay, so isulat muna natin. Number 3, the inverse Laplace of 3s plus 4 over s squared plus 5. Okay, so una nating gagawin is to paghiwalayin natin sila. We can rewrite this as the inverse Laplace of 3s over s squared plus 5 plus the inverse Laplace of 4 over s squared plus 5. Okay? So from there, since meron tayong constant dito, pwede natin silang i-isolate. So this will be equal to 3 and then inverse Laplace of s over s squared plus 5 plus 4 inverse Laplace of 1 over s squared plus 5. Okay. So ito, dito sa part na to, like example number 2, we can say na this is a cosine 80. But what is a? So, we can have a is equal to square root of 5 para pag in-square mo siya, magiging equal to 5. Okay? So, we can do that. So, this will be equal to 3 inverse Laplace of s over s squared plus square root of 5 quantity squared. Okay? And this is equal to 4 inverse Laplace of 1 over s squared plus 5. So, dito, we can also write this as square root of, parang dito, since s squared plus 5 naman sila parehas. So, square root of 5 quantity squared. A is equal to square root of 5. This is like the sine 80. Okay? The Laplace of sine 80. So, from here, ito, pwede na natin siyang idiretso na isulat into 3 cosine. What is A? That is square root of 5t. Pero dito, hindi pa kasi dapat parehas yung value dito at saka dito. Because the Laplace transform of sine 80 is equal to a over s squared plus a squared. Eh, hindi sila magkaparehas. So, we need to manipulate. We need to further solve for that. But how do we do that? Okay, so ganito. Okay, so how do we do that? So, sulat natin dito. For the inverse Laplace of 1 over s squared plus square root of 5 squared. We multiply square root of 5 over square root of 5 dito. Okay? Para yung maging numerator natin is square root of 5 na, which is identical na sa a natin dito sa denominator. If we multiply square root of 5 over square root of 5 dito sa equation na to, parang wala tayong ginawa kasi equal to 1 naman ito. Okay? So, let's solve further. This is equal to 3 cosine square root of 5t plus, okay, so this is constant. Pwede natin siyang i-isolate. So, 4 over square root of 5 times the inverse Laplace of square root of 5 kasi 1 times square root of 5 over s squared plus square root of 5 quantity squared. So, dito, pwede na natin siyang isulat as sine 80 because our a here is identical now with the a in the numerator. So, our final answer would look like 3 cosine square root of 5t plus 4 over square root of 5 sine square root of 5t. So, this is our final answer for example number 3.